This week we read the portion of Sarah, which starts off with the passing of Sarah, our matriarch. Then we talk about the shidduch for Yitzchak, and then the Torah discusses the later part of Avraham's life. Now, the transition from the portion of Vayera to the portion of Sarah is very surprising and unexpected. Vayera, last week's portion, dealt with pretty exciting stuff. You have obviously the binding of Yitzchak, you have the destruction of Sodom, going even further back into the portion of Lech Lecha, you have the battle between Avram and the four kings. These types of events make the headlines. They're exciting. We deal also with angels. And basically, the whole portion is a combination of great ascents and following descents. For example, what do I mean by a descent? The destruction of Sodom. Especially when God just told us at the end of the flood that he's not going to do such a thing again, and now he goes and destroys Sodom, that may be considered a descent because we start questioning God. Now, anyways, these are fascinating events throughout last week's portion. Then comes our portion, Sarah. Not so interesting. The things that happen in this week's portion happen even today as well, and when they happen today, they don't make big headlines. People are matched through a shotgun or through an online dating site or whatever it is. People unfortunately pass away. Sarah passed away. Regular things. So it seems like the Torah does this, meaning it puts Sarah right after Vayera, in order that we should see this contrast and learn something from it. What strengthens this contrast is a particular character involved in both portions who goes from one extreme to the other. That character is the servant of Avram. His name was Eliezer. He goes from being the one who is the lead soldier, and some explain the only soldier, in Avram's battle with the four kings, and he conquers them. He was successful. He goes from that to being a shadchan, someone who matches up Yitzchak and Rivka. What are we to take from all this? Every person's life consists of two different modes. One mode consists of ascent and, unfortunately, sometimes the following descent. The other mode is calm and tranquil with no big events or excitement. In fact, we can see this same difference, calm versus exciting, in the Jewish calendar. You have the summer season, starting from Pesach to Shavuos, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Shmini Atzeres, Simchas Torah. Pretty crazy time. And you have the winter, which, besides for the rabbinically ordained holidays like Hanukkah, Purim, and Tu B'Shvat, it's a pretty boring time. Now, no such big religious events happening during the winter. Now, so to every person, there's this sort of debate as to whether he would prefer great excitement or, calm and quiet. As well, there are two modes of service. There's the calm, and then there's the more ecstatic way of serving God. But sometimes, interestingly enough, it is precisely those who generally operate in a state of calm who will seek out excitement in their life. And it goes the other way. There are sometimes those who lead exciting, upbeat lives who will seek out calm and tranquility. Even those who seek out excitement will realize how difficult it is to maintain such a lifestyle over a long period of time. And it goes the same way with the people who are calm. They need and they will try and find excitement to, introduce into their life. Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Vitebsk, he gave a very good example of a pendulum. Pendulum, you can't just move to one extreme. If it swings far to the left, it needs to swing back to the right in equal measure. So too in our service of God. It's impossible to constantly ascend. In a life of dramatic ascents and jumps, there are equally dramatic, unfortunately, descents and falls. Look at our history. the greatest spiritual disaster, the sin of the golden calf. When did it happen? After the giving of the Torah, when God was in his most revealed state. Because the Jews didn't undergo a fundamental change, they inevitably experienced a great fall. Now, please don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm not saying that every time you ascend and go higher in your spirituality, you're automatically going to descend. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have to be careful when you ascend. So many people discuss whether these two modes, in short, fast and risky, or slow and safe, if these two modes will lead to the same place. And it's just that some people feel more comfortable to one mode than the other, or some people believe that no, one mode is better than the other, and it's more preferred. Some Jews are outraged to see another Jew accept life of utter tranquility and accept the society he lives in. However, others say no, that's the way to go. We keep to the plan that our forefathers, paved out for us, and steadily move on and persevere without having to go to extremes and experience great adventures. Obviously, ultimately, the choice to decide which path to take, God gave you that free choice. So it's up to you. The Torah itself does not appear to decisively favor one side or the other. And I think that the fact that the Torah doesn't do that is exactly the point. Because in truth, you need both. The Torah teaches us reality. People need to learn to conduct themselves in both modes because there is no one single way to live in this world and find lasting success unless you have both modes. On the one hand, we live in a world where each day presents new situations that have never been experienced before, and yeah, sometimes you gotta jump. Yet on the other hand, this same world is also built on routine. Life is often characterized more by the less exciting and unimportant things than by its drama. There's an amazing example I just heard that the Rebbe gave someone about the pawns on a chessboard, yeah? To us, they seem insignificant and not so glamorous. But it's those same pawns that if they make it to the other side of the board, they become queens. I did not know that was a rule, but apparently it is. They become queens. Whereas your, what are they called? Castles and bishops, they could go who knows how many spaces at a time. They could go 20 spaces at a time. Yet when they get captured, they're done. There's no such thing as going to the other side and becoming a queen. And it's those same pawns who protect the king, by the way. Just an amazing example that I just heard. Anyways, man must be capable of great excitement, but he must always be prepared to live without it. There are periods when we need to move at a fast pace without stopping to rest. And even though, yes, it will sometimes be, painful and stressful, he must not stop or he will fall. But there are other times when we must be passive and reactive rather than go immediately take action. What do you think the whole point of Shabbos is? You have a week of back-breaking labor and activity, and you come to a complete stop, a time to take a chill, to be calm and quiet. This is the true back and forth, and we need to develop the inner ability to operate in both of these modes. These two aspects present themselves in the various stages of a person's life, and one must learn to utilize them when opportunities for growth arise. Interestingly enough, though, the perfect time to acquire Torah and do good deeds, do mitzvahs, is when the evil inclination seems to be at its strongest. It's explained in Tanya that when everything is like moving fast and life seems unpredictable, that's the time when one can ascend in spirituality, become closer with God. And if one does not use his natural energy when young in order to run, let's say, then when he is older, it will just become more difficult for him. If a person does not desire great things at a time in his life when he should be naturally desiring those things and having a drive towards them, when will he desire them? Later in life, at least I hear older people tell me, it becomes more difficult to leap to greater heights. However, for those of you who are old or oldish, I would say, let's say 52 and on, there's no excuse. you must and can still grow. Look at Avram, circumcised at 99 years old. Now, no one's asking you to circumcise yourself. But someone like Avram, who you would expect to just sit in a rocking chair and, I don't know, sew something or whatever, he decides to grow in his spirituality. And yeah, conquer 4 kings, circumcise himself, pass the ultimate test of God by the Akedah, etc. It's like the story of an elder Chassid going to the Rebbe, and he tells the Rebbe he wanted to retire. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe looks surprised and says, retire? Moshe Rabbeinu only started his career at the age of 80. So age is no excuse. And the Rebbe, our Rebbe, started his career at 50. So age is definitely no excuse for us, and at any age, especially the young, but even the old, have no excuse to grow and continue growing.